by Helping Hands, and thank God. It's a God-sent program. Thank you very much. Oh.
Oh, okay, it's recording. Okay, play. Yeah, that's not it. What happened? All right.
Places, everyone. Lights up, sound go, and we're on.
And so the story goes.
And the magic grows and grows.
Where does it end?
Like no one knows.
Like a seed that's been planted, now we're hidden in your hearts. The story isn't ending. This is where it starts.
Whispered on the wind, the fairy tale begins. Listen closely, it echoes deep within.
And it's waiting there, floating on the air. Take it down now, if you dare. And the magic of the mind is happening to you. Filled with possibilities, there's nothing you can do. Doubt is not allowed.
Leave that all behind.
Believe in the magic of the mind. After we have gone, the fairy tale lives on, waiting for you to pass it on. And the tales you will weave will make someone else believe. Always there for us to share, for us to share. And the magic of the mind is happening to you. Filled with possibilities, there's nothing you can't do. Doubt is not allowed.
Leave that all behind.
Believe in the magic. Believe with the magic. Believe.
Well, hello everybody. I totally screwed up this thing.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, here, I'll do it. Oh, nope. So we are obviously very late, and then also this is not you know,
Oh, it's preview.
yeah. Is it this one? Yeah, it's there. So uh, we're like totally not prepared. We're late, and we didn't even have everything set up. So that's why we're just kind of started off like this. Hello. Anyway.
I don't like seeing myself that big. Make
Oh.
it go away.
Okay. Playing around with some different stuff.
This is not a good way to start.
Well, but we're starting. So welcome one and all. We thought we'd talk about fundraising ideas because fourth quarter, this is traditionally when a lot of nonprofits are doing like, big fundraisers and stuff. And with things being the way they are, you know, a lot of the traditional fundraisers are not possible. But we also know that some organizations do have traditional fundraisers going on, and some of them they've been doing for so long, but they're not really effective and stuff. And so we just thought we'd talk a little bit about maybe different ways that you could think in deciding how and what is an appropriate or good idea to do fundraisers for your particular organization. What would you say to
Should
that?
we talk about the reason why we're talking?
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but I thought
Maybe we don't say it specifically.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let you start the story, and I'll kind of fill in the things.
So there. Oh, I don't know. So there's. Oh, I don't know how to
So
do it.
there's an organization that Jamie's mom was a part of, and they had done a fundraising campaign that that multiple organizations can take part of, and her mom had said like, oh,
They did. She thought they did really well.
yeah, and I forget the amount, but it was let's say it was like $5,000, and which is a nice amount. We said that, well, we also have experience with another organization that does the same thing, but
It's a thing that a lot of organizations can jump in on.
Yeah, it's a fundraising opportunity that is open to all organizations. So you can have multiple organizations partaking in this. One particular organization that we work with, every year they traditionally do very poorly in this same thing. So the one that her mom's organization got $5,000 in, $5,000 in donations from, they get like a few $100s. Like they have never exceeded 1,000. And so they were starting to they questioned this last year and then again this year, like, is it even worth doing this? Because in contrast, we had, they created their own fundraising campaign, which was really basic and just basically asking for money. And they made almost 8,000. So they're like, wow, this other campaign that we put a little bit of effort into raised a few $100s. We put a similar amount of effort into this other campaign, made almost 8,000. So what's the difference? Why should we choose one versus the other, etc.? So that got us to thinking, like, this is a great idea.
Because I thought maybe that opportunity was kind of junk. Like maybe nobody should do it. But then when my mom said that, I was like, oh, maybe it is good. But so I was thinking, like, why does it work for this group and not this group?
Yeah.
And what we were thinking was that it's because of the who supports my mom's group versus who supports this other group, and they are very different demographic.
Yeah. So what were you telling me that you thought, like, to give the example of why mom's group got more than our other group?
How do I say it without saying what the thing is?
So she thought that the demo that supports mom's group is of a different age group and class. Like, they have disposable income, they're older, so that when they go to this opportunity, they have all this money to spend
and to give.
Yeah. Whereas our organization that we're working with, their demo is more like working class. Like, they give, but just what they can. They don't have extra to give on top.
That's like our demo.
Yeah. And they don't actually, not as many go to this particular opportunity place. They can't afford it.
Yeah.
So here's a great example. So let's get off of this weird.
I know, it's so hard.
So one that we've seen in the past done is like, it's a fundraiser where if you go to CPK on a Tuesday night and you tell them, hey, I am eating here at CPK to benefit.
You show them the flyer.
Yeah.
On your phone, or you bring it.
Yeah, we'll call it Emmett's Cause. So let's say Emmett's Cause is our organization.
Ow.
He's sleeping now. But you would have to go to CPK on that particular night at that particular location and say, I have this flyer for Emmett's Cause. I want the food that I order to be credited towards Emmett's Cause. And then what CPK will do is say, okay, out of your $100 bill, we will, donate 10% of that to Emmett's Cause, which sounds like a lot of fun and stuff. And for organizations, it's like, oh, everybody loves CPK and this is a great opportunity to fundraise. And they advertise it and they tell all of their followers and supporters, like, go to CPK and print out this flyer and da-da-da. But if you think about it, if it is 10%, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's a small amount. But if someone's going to CPK, like me and Jamie, like, oh, we want to support Emmett's cause, let's go eat at CPK. The more we order food is what will give more donation to the organization. So if we got like, oh, let's order $100 worth of food. Out of that $100 that we spend on food, $10 will go to Emmett's cause. If we ask ourselves logically, for us who can't necessarily afford $100 dinners,
We don't ever eat at CPK.
yeah, like why wouldn't we instead just say, I would, if I was given the opportunity, the choice, spend $100 and give $10 to Emmett's cause, or just give directly $25 to Emmett's cause.
Yeah.
It's $25 is way less than $100 out of our pocket, but $25 versus $10 donated is way more of a donation to Emmett's cause.
But if your demo can afford to eat at CPK and they love CPK and they'll bring like their extended family there, then it's great.
Yeah. So that's where the difference is understanding your demo, your audience, your support team and stuff.
Yeah.
And so for some organizations, these traditional fundraising opportunities make perfect sense. But I think what the mistakes some organizations make is that they see other organizations doing it,
Yeah.
and they go, oh, let's do that
Everybody's
too.
doing it. Sounds
Yeah.
good. Let's do it.
And they don't think about like, well, does this make sense for us? And that's kind of in line with what we've always said with just communications and marketing in general,
Yeah.
right? I think a lot of nonprofits make that mistake of, oh, I see others doing this kind of communication or this type of marketing, and they do the same thing, and then they are confused. How come we didn't do so well?
I think part of it, like, because we're just coming off of HanoCon and there was a lot of talk at HanoCon about boards. So if the board is who is deciding what the fundraiser should be, the board might have the board itself might be similar in demographic to the board of these other orgs, but they might not be considering who our base of supporters are.
Yeah.
Like they have the same peer-to-peer ask, but in a big general fundraiser where you're asking for community support, then you have to think more about who is it that it like the broad community, what is their demographic that is supporting our organization.
And that's, I guess, the key point that we wanted to make as far as how to decide what fundraiser opportunities you should be choosing. Is it should be, the first question should be, who is it that we're trying to reach? What do they look like? What is their identity, I guess?
Yeah.
And then finding out if this fundraiser opportunities that you have before you that you have to choose from, which one matches that demo the best, which would give them the most opportunity for success in participating in.
Yeah.
Jamie had looked up some websites.
Oh, I didn't even look at it though.
Oh, well, let's look at it together. So this is part of us not being prepared.
I know.
Jamie had sent this to me and said, hey, we should look over this and prepare for our live with it. And then here we are, 7 minutes late, and we didn't do it.
You're going to read while you're doing this?
So we went on, Jamie just found, I'll just say, Jamie went on, there's websites that, like this one, givewp.com, that has a list of like 21 fundraising ideas.
In 2021.
Yeah.
Just online stuff.
I don't know if any of these are good or not, but at least it gives you ideas, so that the point of this is to see what not just your peer organizations are doing, but what is being done across nationally or even internationally. Because maybe what might be best for your demo hasn't been done yet here on Oahu or in Hawaii.
Yeah. Like that one, like that restaurant one that we saw on the mainland where you got your bracelet.
Yeah.
I've never seen that here.
So let me explain that then, I guess. Would that make sense to explain?
Yeah, it might not be that good now because of restaurants not being a big thing right now. But when they open again.
Yeah, but this is an example just
Yeah.
of something that we might not be aware of. That's why you want to think of what else is out there versus what you've seen here just locally amongst other nonprofits that you know of, which might not have the same demographic of donors as you do. But we went to eat at this restaurant in the mainland, and
It's a bar.
yeah, it was like this like heavy metal death themed bar. And the only reason why we went is not because we love heavy metal death music, but because it was the only place open that didn't have a line to get into.
Because we went to a wrestling show in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So now that you know all of the details, this particular restaurant did something, or bar did something really cool, where every month or every 3 months.
Or what? Oh yeah, was it quarterly?
It might have been quarterly. They would select a nonprofit to feature. And what that meant was like at every table, they would have flyers, little like stand.
Is that little card thing where like they put their specials?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things on there was the information about the nonprofit.
Yeah. And so it kind of was like getting to know this nonprofit that this bar chose to focus and spread the word about. And the idea was that, you know, these are nonprofits that are doing amazing work in the community that you might not know about, that we would want you to learn more about. And so on that table tent, they'd have information. They also did something where it's like, I don't know if it was a particular dish or just a percentage of the proceeds of what is sold are going to be donated to this organization. So it was something where they weren't asking you to do anything specific. Like, we're not asking you to donate. Like, they're saying, we just want you to learn more about it. And then know that we're giving some of, you know, the money that we earn to this particular organization. And if you want to donate to them, that would be great. But if anything, just learn about them. And then also what they did when they gave us our bill was they gave us not only little like postcards to take home with more information, but then they also gave us like little like tchotchke things. So one of them was this little bracelet, those rubber or silicone bracelets, and it was for this organization, which in particular was Hope for the Day. Oh, come
Your
on.
eyes.
Hope for the Day.
Your eyes. Okay.
And then it has a little saying like it has their website, and then it's the saying, it's okay not to be okay, have hope. And so the organization, the point of it is like for, you know, mental health support and those who are suffering with, you know, suicide and thoughts and stuff. Like, there's a lot of great resources here to help with that. And just getting this little bracelet was like, oh, cool, that's nice. But it gave me the idea to go check it out and look at their website and stuff. And then it just was something that was unique, which I thought would give some really great, valuable awareness to an organization that someone like myself who never heard of it now knows about it.
Yeah.
And I have this that reminds me of it every day and stuff. And all it was like this, you know, bar or restaurant was willing to give basically free advertising for them.
Yeah.
And it was no skin off their back. Like, it's not like, oh, that tabletop thing that's
Yeah.
costing them money. They just had to put it up and just have their staff hand things with the check when they bring it to your table. Like, super easy. And for the for the business, it just shows that they care. And it, like, for a patron, makes me go like, what a great place.
I know.
I wanna
What a
support-
great,
yeah.
kind, heavy metal bar.
Yeah, I know they're screaming about death, but they really give life to this community. So, anyways, the point is that you know, going online to search out other creative ideas for fundraisers might be a great way to really find some fundraiser opportunities that really fit your demo. So this one that we looked up, givewp.com, in particular has this article on here that has 21 fundraising ideas for 2021. Yeah. I was going to say we'll share it on the screen, but just look it up.
Yeah.
And then there's another one from Kindful, KINDFUL.com. They
Why
also
are you going through all these?
They also have fundraising ideas designed to help raise more this year. So again, some more ideas. And this one has some really cool suggestions too, not just fundraiser ideas, but things you can do to help build up more fundraising opportunities on things that you already have going on, like your donation page. Like they give some specific examples of what you could do to make fundraising on your website better. So these are things that could help you with your decisions on how to choose what kind of fundraisers you do in the next couple months, possibly, So again, the key takeaways is figuring out and recognizing who your donor base is and their, I guess, like identity.
Yeah.
And then using that as your guide of what kind of fundraising ideas would match them.
I think people just usually think about do we have staff to make this happen, which is super important. But just always want to think about are people who support us actually going to go to this place, and are they actually going to have money to put down when they go there?
Mm-hmm.
And what is the best way to reach people? And I think just putting the social media ask thing, when you're thinking about doing that kind of either social media campaign or email ask, think about the know, like, and trust. So you want people to know you and like you and trust you, and then they'll give or buy. So usually people talk about that in terms of buying, like a sales kind of speakers, sales funnel thing.
Mm-hmm.
But for nonprofits, in the end, it's that they're giving, not buying. So think about that you're building the relationship. So you want to put in those points where you can be building the relationship, so that you tell them about you first, and then get them invested in what you're doing, so that when it gets to the point where you're doing the ask, that they have a reason to give. So that's why I think this bracelet thing was good, because they weren't upfront with asking for anything. It was just about telling you
they wanted us to know them,
do,
right?
Yeah.
And then once I knew about them, I liked them.
Yeah.
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 That makes it so much easier to correlate the ask with an actual donation. Because I think what we in the past have just thought is as long as you throw out the ask, just hope that people have goodness in their heart to support nonprofits. But now you have so many tools and opportunities to really foster people's relationship with you through social media and all that kind of stuff, that it can really make it even more of a stronger bond between you and your donor base. This is the shortest I think we've ever had. It's short because it's simple. I think that's what we wanted you to take away from this, is that a lot of times the fundraiser ideas seem so complex that's why they go with what they see other people doing, because it's simple in thought of let's just copy what they do.
Well, I don't know if it's I've never lived anywhere else thinking about nonprofits, but I don't know if this is a local thing, but it just seems like everybody kind of jumps on and does the same thing that everybody else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to, and when you do, you might be taking up space. You don't want to ask all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, because if you're asking all the time, people are going to tune you out and they're going to stop looking. So if they're scrolling by and not liking your post, you're going to get less chance of reaching them when you have something important to say.
Mm-hmm.
So putting in all these other asks for these ones that everybody's doing, unless it really makes sense for your org, it might actually be harming you, because you might lose you might lose the algorithm might stop liking you or stop showing you to people.
Yeah.
So you want to be intentional and not just jump on everything that everybody else does, but think about, does it make sense?
And on top of that, running fundraiser ideas like how a business would. Like, I think we forget about that because like you mentioned this and we didn't do it, talk about it yet, but like not in the nonprofit world, but in like our kids' school fundraiser stuff. They do things like bake sales and stuff, and it's like so labor intensive. It requires so many families to donate materials and time and effort and stuff, and then set up the sale and all this stuff. Like tons of work go into a bake sale, and then sometimes what they walk away with, it's like, yeah, we made $60, and it's like, oh my gosh. We can try to challenge ourselves to think of other creative ideas that require less resources.
I was gonna say, so my kid's dad, he won't do it, and I would be just like, because I don't bake, I don't make anything, and I'd be like, can you just make something and then we can donate? And he's like, no, here's a check. And I'd be like, oh, that's so junk. But then when I think about it, and when I saw their actual numbers, I was like, oh, he actually ended up giving like a good percentage of what they made from the baked goods. So it sounded like so sad in my head that like we're the only family not participating. But then it's like, oh, maybe he was smart about it. Even though it seemed really I don't know,
like heartless.
Yeah,
because we've been part of these like parent meetings and stuff where they like spend so much brain power in planning these fundraiser things. And as a business person, with that kind of my background of like, what's the profit margin? And like we watch this TV show called The Profit, and it's always like, what is your profit margins? Where are you making some actual money? And like they'd be like, oh yeah, if we sell this many, popsicles, we get 50 cents per popsicle. And I was like, oh, you have how many students? So like even if every student bought a popsicle, you'd make like $200. Like is it worth it to put all this?
It's so much work. Like the two parents got to take off work and go and get the stuff, bring it over. It's like a lot of time.
And then I would just look at like, let's look at opportunities where you have a huge profit margin. So you don't have to do as much work and don't sell as many things, but you can get way more money. Stuff like that are other things to consider on top of this idea that we're trying to tell you about, like knowing your audience and your demo and stuff. Also
know your margins.
Yeah. Like think about the business sense. Does it make business sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we've offended every group
we could think of. Sorry.
So I think
I personally really like bake sales because I don't bake and I love baked goods.
Yeah. So that's also something to consider too. Like if profit and money
don't matter.
And it's more about the that's because community participation and awareness is also a big key, right? So that's also something to consider too. So we don't want it to be just like void of heart. And
I don't want to take away all the bake sales.
Yeah, take away all the fun.
Let us know when you're having a bake sale.
Okay, so I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. Well, if you have any questions or thoughts that you'd like to add to this, again, feel free to throw them into the comment section. If you're watching this on tape delay, know that we can still continue on with this conversation in the chat.
Thank you for watching, Brian.
And if you want to just directly message us, you can email us. I got the buttons back in. So you can.
I don't know if this one's connected to a button though.
Oh, okay. Well, you can email us at.
Let me try. I'm just gonna push it. Oh,
Yeah, the buttons are back, baby. info@popcm.me is our email address. And you can email us there.
it's like magic.
And if you're wondering like why we look so jittery, like look how, I don't know, maybe some might notice and some might not.
Oh, there.
But we figured out
There it
the
is.
problem, possibly. So sorry about it, but I think by next week we'll have it figured out. Speaking of next week, we'll be back again for another episode of Pop Live. If you have any topics or questions that you'd like for us to cover, we're running out of things to talk about. So please send them our way. Or if you want us to, this is another thing. If you want, maybe you don't want us to talk about it, but there's a topic that you want us to bring a specialist on about, please. We have a lot of friends and connections. We just don't know who to reach out to ask for a favor. So let us know what you want to talk about, and we can make it happen, okay? You don't have to only hear us talk about it. Other than that, have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you next week. All right? Talk to you later. You can push one of these buttons, I think.